Ah yes, another day and some more Helldivers 2 tips and tricks while our freaky robot enemies walk around with no riders. And today I'm gonna be breaking out all my secret technology that people from the live streams have watched me do. So if you wanna catch me do these tips and tricks live, turn on notifications or join the Discord to know exactly when I do go live. But I still get plenty of questions about enemy mechanics, how to two-shot Bile Titans even while they are spitting, some nice movement tech, and how to call down 4 resupplies so that everyone's supply pack can get filled up. And our first honorable shout out tip of the day that everyone wants their random squad mates to know is that if you see samples laying at the floor at the extract, do not pick them up unless you're about to hop in the Pelican. Helldivers always leave their samples at extract in between objectives during the mission. This way, if they end up dying to a swarm of bugs somewhere, by the time it's time to extract, the closest person can just pick them up and hop directly into that ship. So unless the plane's about to take off, just leave them there and go about your day. Now, before we get into the real tips and tricks, we gotta shout out the channel sponsors, Instant Gaming. For the next 3 days, they're doing their El Dorado summer sales, where you can get up to 85% off of many different games like Ready or Not, Fallout 76, No Rest for the Wicked, Kingdom Come, Tekken 8, and many others. Click the link in the description to help me earn some commission for any games you buy through my link, and click the other link in the description to enter the giveaway that they host for my channel once a month for any game of your choice. So I know all of you came here to learn about how to do Operation Abundant Ordinance, calling down multiple resupplies to fill up everybody's backpack, and all you need to do is have everybody type in their code for the resupply, but nobody throw it yet. Now this part's a little bit tricky. You kind of have to know who the host is, and it might take you a couple tries to get this down. I'm not sure if it's the actual host or just whoever's game decides that they're the host for this one, but every time we're in my lobbies, I have to throw the resupply first. And then what you do is you wait for that resupply to come down and the next person throws it. And then after that, it's pretty simple. Wait for each resupply to land and the next person throws it, and so on. Now this can be most useful if you have 2 duos on opposite ends of the map. That way each group can get a resupply down. Now that's gonna be the only exploit in this video because obviously it's unintended. Let's talk about countering some of the enemies. Then later, I'll tell you guys why to take Gas Strike on bot maps. Now, first up is Flame Hulks, the enemy known for one-shotting Helldivers the moment that flamethrower comes out and literally tickles you. And me personally, I used to always dive away once I saw him charging up his flamethrower, but I would end up being in the air and he would catch me midair with the fire. So instead of diving away, simply hit your prone button and go prone under the fire. Now keep in mind, for this to work, you have to be on even ground with him. If you're up a hill or lower down a hill, the angle will just be too messed up. This works so well because going prone puts you on the ground faster than diving, and this will help those divers who like impact grenades more than stun grenades. But for some of you divers who never leave the Super Destroyer without stun grenades, I've got some crazy technology for you. And did you know that you can actually dive through stun grenades and not get stunned? This is again very helpful for Hulks, but also Chargers. Sometimes when you get reinforced, you may not have your support weapon and come across a Hulk. But if you're like me and you like bringing weapons like the Stalwart for Bugs, I use this tech to get behind a Charger and shoot his butt 9 times with my Scorcher to kill him. It's a very effective way to deal with the increased Charger spawns, and I'm sure there's millions of other situations diving through stuns will be useful, but the one thing to keep in mind is to not get too close to where the actual stun grenade goes off, because sometimes it still will stun you while diving, but as long as you're outside of it, you can be pretty close to it and you will not get stunned. So next up for enemies, let's talk about Berserkers and Stalkers, because I hear these enemies get complained about the most. First up is the metal chainsaw arm cold robots who just crave death. And this one's pretty simple. Yep, just walk away from them. Literally, it is that simple. You can actually just walk away. They actually are not fast enough and they only attack you if you're in range of them. Now, if there's large packs of these, because these guys are tanky, just simply lob a couple grenade pistol shots their way or a couple impacts. I don't recommend taking them down with your grenade pistol. Like, don't try to kill them with it. Obviously you can, but it weakens them heavily as the grenade pistol does 400 damage per shot, and they will be heavily weakened after 1 or 2 of them, and then you can easily finish them off with your primary. When it comes to Stalkers, on the other hand, the main tip is to honestly just put down the Breaker Incendiary, start using stagger weapons like the Pummeler. Now, on the last patch, it took 1 bullet from the Pummeler to stun a Stalker, but they nerfed it a bit, and now it takes somewhere between 3 and 5, which honestly still isn't that big of a deal. And most people probably don't know this, but the Stalker's weak point is its face. All right, well, that part might be obvious. But what you didn't know is the face of the Stalker only has 175 health, and I'm pretty sure it has no armor. It takes a total of 3 bullets from a Pummeler to kill a Stalker once you shoot its face off. And obviously that's not counting the bullets you'd use to stun it. Now, if you're not using the Pummeler, the Punisher primary weapon's pretty good, and the new Pocket Shotty, which can stagger them, is also pretty great. Stagger is a heavily underrated mechanic in this game, in my opinion, because everybody's spamming the Breaker Incendiary. Now, this next tip is for the Automaton tanks. Did you know that you can actually just shoot the rear hull of the tank? You know, the part under the spinny heat sink, and it will explode. This is extra useful when you manage to get behind them, but the spinny part on the top keeps looking at you. The heavy machine gun and the autocannon are probably best for this, but the laser cannon and the anti-material rifle can eventually do this as well. Impact grenades should probably be great for this, but I haven't tried impacts yet. And you can actually take out a tank super easily as long as you can get behind it. All right, so now on to Bile Titan heads. There is a bug where Bile Titan heads don't always take damage. Hopefully this just gets fixed and this tip becomes obsolete, because that would be great. But I believe I've figured out the cause of this, and I think it's that the Bile Titan's head hitbox is just shifting when it's not spitting versus when it is. So if it's not spitting and it's just menacingly walking towards you, you want to aim for the forehead. If you shoot it twice directly in the forehead while it's not spitting, it will die. But if it is spitting, this hurt box on the head shifts over to kind of like the top of its cheek. I'm showing it in the clips here. And I knew this was definitely the spot while it's spitting when I got 4 consistent Bile Titan kills in a row on a rocket defense mission against the Bugs. I knew this was definitely the spot. Now, since this bug exists and it does seem like the Bile Titan's hurt box on its head is shifting, it might still be annoying for you. If you have high ping or something, it might be extra hard to hit. What I will say is if you're using the spear, try to wait until it's not spitting and hit it on the forehead, or just crack open the back armor and kill it from there. Honestly, good luck with this one, because this is kind of a buggy interaction, and hopefully they fix this one soon. Now, speaking of impact grenades, or at least we were talking about them earlier, but did you know it's about 4 or 5 impact grenades to take out a factory strider? Now, keep in mind in this clip, I did shoot my laser cannon a little bit, but I just wanted to see how much impact grenades it took to kill them. I honestly came to the conclusion that it wouldn't be a bad thing just to throw a couple at them to heavily weaken them and take that time to kill lower, and then just shoot them with your support weapon after maybe 2 or so impact grenades. Now, since we're back over to the automaton side of this tips and tricks, my next tip is that gas strike can work as an alternative to the precision strike for taking out enemy emplacements. The most important one being the detector tower. All I do is walk up beside it, I get about 20 to 30 meters away, and then I aim straight up and it usually lands right on it. Obviously, this will probably take a little bit of practice for you, but then I wait for it to land and it completely clears it out. The detector tower can easily grief runs and snowball you into losing many reinforcements, but the gas strike also takes out the rogue research facility. Just toss it in and no need to wait for a bot drop. Another thing I like using it for is a single fabricator in a heavy base. Then I run around and go for the other fabricators, and all those small bots near the one fabricator I took out die to the poison gas. Same for bugs. I'll often throw this at one of the bug holes because it also kills a bunch of little bugs nearby. Now, against bots, this stratagem pairs pretty well with the Plasma Punisher, because the Plasma Punisher isn't necessarily the greatest weapon for single target damage, but it is great against bots for staggering groups of devastators. It's amazing against patrols. So combine both of these, put a gas strike down on a patrol and then start staggering them away. And between the chip damage from the gas and the chip damage from the Plasma Punisher, you might end up finding yourself liking this combo a lot, or at least I do. Now, another cool thing with the Plasma Punisher is you can completely distract groups of patrols that don't know where you are yet. This is especially useful for extracting civilian missions. You'll definitely have to test the ranges of this again to get the hang of it, so this one does take practice. If you shoot it too close to them, they'll just immediately detect you and start running towards you. But basically, any explosive damage makes noise in this game, and any explosive damage could do this. When enemies hear that noise, they will go to investigate, and you can just completely distract them shooting it left and right. And it's honestly kind of funny to watch. You can essentially make it so that you don't have to deal with patrols and bot drops until you get all those civvies to safety. And now for our next tip, a question I get all the time is how the heck am I throwing the Seaf artillery? And this one's simple. As soon as you pick up the barrel, swap weapons instantly. Another thing is you need to have some momentum, so make sure you get some forward momentum. Pick up the Seaf, instantly swap to your primary or secondary or support weapon, whatever it is. And again, just practice this one a little bit, but this one's easier than some of the other tips on the list. Get the hang of the timing. They're very easy to throw towards the cannon, and this is honestly really nice for getting them over those annoying walls. So that's it for this quick tips and tricks video. If you enjoyed this one or I taught you something, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and come learn some of these more when I'm live, because I'm always testing out different builds and new stuff. Turn on the notifications or join the Discord to know exactly when I go live. So I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.